You may have heard of Omniarch. He's another Rise of Kingdoms content creator. But do you really know him? Join me in an exclusive one-on-one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms kind of gameplay episode with your very own Shappy Gaming and our dear friend Omniarch. Say hello.
What's going on, guys?
So first off, I wanted to thank you so much, Omniarch, for coming into the new series where we are interviewing other Rise of Kingdoms content creators. You're a legend in the community, and I'm so glad I got to have you on the channel.
I appreciate that. I don't know about legend, but I've certainly been here a while. I feel like an old man. Everyone else is leaving, and I'm still here.
Oh man, yeah, I heard about Drago. Big bummer, but
Yeah.
he's done a great job.
He's a good guy.
So, Omniarch, I'm assuming most of my video viewers know a little bit about you, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I mean, you want to know about me or in-game Omniarch? I started playing Rise of Kingdoms like a month after it came out. Me personally, I live in New York City. I know I've joked on some of my live streams that we should do like a New York City meetup. I think that would be pretty cool. Like everyone goes to like Dave and Buster's or something like that. Yeah, my YouTube channel is like 1 billion years old. I used to do Call of Duty videos before Rise of Kingdoms.
Yes.
Yeah, and what else? That's pretty much everything about. I have a degree in marketing, which haven't used that at all.
Hey, editing video thumbnails is definitely a challenge. I think maybe some of those skills might have transferred over.
Perhaps.
There you go. So what other games do you play? You mentioned Call of Duty. Everyone on my channel knows I am also a big Call of Duty player. Some people like that, some people not so much.
I stopped playing Call of Duty a couple years ago. I still like buy the new ones and I play it for like a weekend and then I'm like, okay, this is garbage. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of fell out of love with that. Outside of Rise of Kingdoms, I feel like I jump around games these days. Like Rise of Kingdoms is like my like rock game, and then I just no pun intended. And then I'll play like World of Warcraft for a week and just play around. And then like this week I re-downloaded Genshin, and I'm not a Genshin player at all, but I invested maybe a couple hours into that. So I guess besides that, mainly like Nintendo games. Love Pokemon, Mario Kart. I'm terrible at Smash Bros. And I'm still waiting for the new Elder Scrolls.
There you go. Is anyone really good at Smash Bros though? Like, I feel like everyone's just meh.
Dude, I had some of my people I like that I work with are nasty at it, and it's not even fun. Like I just watch them play because I'm like, okay, I just press over B with Charizard and hope that I hit something.
Yeah, that's the move. The Pokemon games are a vibe too. I feel like everyone grew up with those.
For sure. Also, real quick, I want to apologize. I think my camera's like zooming in and out. I don't know if it's like autofocusing or something, but that's my bad.
No, you're all good.
Cool.
So, how did you find Rise of Kingdoms?
So I started playing like a month after the game came out, and the reason was because I saw probably like 20 or 30 of my coworkers all playing it in the break room, and they were all like huddled around the table talking about like, oh, like join our alliance, you have to join, you have to download the game. And I thought it was really interesting because at that time I was I was probably 2 years deep into Clash Royale.
Okay.
And that was my game. Like every time I was on break at work, I'd play Clash Royale. So I was getting bored of that game, so I downloaded it and I joined all my coworkers in their alliance in Kingdom 1062. And that's how I found out about it, basically. I think maybe one of the coworkers I work with still plays, maybe two. And I think I'm the only one left.
Oh my god. So you were literally one of those Rise of Kingdoms ads. Like we've all seen them. You've made videos on them. You were one of them.
What do you mean?
Haven't you seen them where like there's the boss that comes in and he's like, I'm 20 million power.
Oh my god, that's actually true. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, it was like that in real life, but minus all the corny, horrible acting. It was like literally just real people like actually enjoying the game.
Oh my goodness. I don't think I've ever met someone else in person who plays Rise of Kingdoms. So that's a definite different experience.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, I know quite a few. Well, not anymore. A lot of them quit, but
Well, it's a little bit of an expensive game when you get into it.
yeah, it's a huge time investment for sure.
Definitely. So you've stuck with it for a while. It sounds like you've been playing for what, 3-4 years at this point. What's your favorite thing about it?
My favorite thing, a couple things. I think this game, out of all the city builders I've played, does open field fighting the best. I think a lot of people would agree with that. I think that's kind of like the big draw of the game. That's where it shines. I like, like I said, I grew up on Pokemon, so I like collecting things. I love having like a bunch of shiny commanders with a bunch of cool gear. And the community is really what kept me here, to be honest. And I know that's like super corny and like, oh, of course he's a YouTuber, he would say that. But like genuinely, like I joined the game with a bunch of people in real life. And I thought that once all of them quit, I would quit too, because I had no friends. But I like ended up making really good friends in the game and to the point where like, we're on voice calls for KVKs and stuff. And like we've played other games together outside of Rise of Kingdoms at this point. So it's just like the people that I've met here that keeps the game sort of exciting, even during those moments where I think the game is kind of like, you're in between KVKs, like there's an update you don't like, you're thinking about like, oh, I don't want to play something else, but I still stick around.
Yeah, I think for me, the community is definitely what's kept me going too. I've been playing for, I don't know, let's see how many days. Let's see what VIP says. 1,302 days. And it's all the community, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been playing Rise of Kingdoms for a while, but what inspired you to become a Rise of Kingdoms YouTuber?
Well, I like making YouTube videos more than I like Rise of Kingdoms, right? Like I've had my YouTube channel has been around forever. I did it before Rise of Kingdoms. I had the YouTube channel before that where I did like Pokemon stuff. I don't even know if those videos are still public anymore.
Let's find out.
Yeah, I'm sure someone maybe in the comments will find it, but I started to fall like out of love with Call of Duty, and my channel wasn't really like, I couldn't justify playing Call of Duty knowing how much I didn't like it and how much my channel wasn't really doing anything for years with that. And at that time, I had already played Rise of Kingdoms for like a year, and I had liked the game a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things where like when I'm really like passionate about something, I wanna like record it. I want to make a video about it, right? And so yeah, so I just like made a beginner's guide video, and I think that video got like, it has like 80,000 views right now. It's still I think it's like one of my top 10 most viewed videos, and it like exploded in like views. So I made a follow-up video where I talked about like the best commanders, and that video did almost as well. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm onto something. I'm gonna start doing.
Oh my god! I think I've found the end of Call of Duty and the beginning of your Rise of Kingdoms content. That's insane.
Yep.
How many subscribers did you have at that point?
I want to say like 5,000, 7,000, something like that. But it wasn't like at that point they were all sort of inactive, right? Because at that point I think I was averaging like 200 views a video or something like that. So like the sub number didn't even matter. It was all people who came and went, and that number didn't really mean anything to me.
Wow, that's insane. So, but I'm assuming before you started making Rise of Kingdoms content, you watched other Rise of Kingdoms YouTubers. Do you have a favorite?
A favorite? I mean, I would say the one that I would say I'm like, I know the best would be Wick Gaming, and that's not even, like, I'm not trying to claim that I like know him really well. We did a sponsorship together like I think back in February, right before he quit. And I got to know him really well during that time because we had to like make videos together, and we were all in the same alliance. And so like I got to know him really well. I haven't really talked to him at all since, which is unfortunate. I hope he's doing well. So I would say like in that way, he would be my favorite. Also because his videos are just incredibly useful and like so well edited, and just he's great at math and I'm not. But obviously Chiskel is like the pillar of the community, right? Like without Chiskel making his videos, I probably wouldn't have known enough about the game to make my videos. So, you know, like obviously I have to shout out to Chiskel, of course.
Of course. I mean, he's the king, but that's cool that you were able to meet Wick. I never got to chat with Wick, but we've all watched his videos for technical tips.
Yep.
So that's pretty awesome, but you've grown very quickly. At least it feels like that to me. You know, I've been playing for close to 3 years, and then out of nowhere, it was like this Omniarch guy. What's your secret?
I mean, there's not like a secret. It's I would say, like, this is gonna sound super corny, and I promise that I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but I try to think of video ideas that are maybe a little bit outside the realm of what like was already being made at the time. And that's not to say that all my videos are unique, because probably 90% of them are like the same stuff everyone else talks about. But like the one video that really helped my channel grow was when I reacted to the terrible ads. That's one of my top like 3 or 4 most popular videos at this point. And I don't know, like I watched React content and I was like, oh my God, these ads are so horrible. I'm gonna react to them as well. And people thought it was funny, and it was like sitting at the #1. Like if you typed in Rise of Kingdoms on YouTube, my video would come up for that for like 2 months or something like that. And that gave me a bunch of like subscribers. But besides that, I'm kind of just like obsessed with YouTube. Like I'm constantly like tweaking thumbnails, trying to see like, you know, what like looks the best. Some people call it clickbait, and of course, like part of it's 100% true, obviously, right? Every YouTuber clickbaits. But yeah, just trying to think of like best title that would be for this topic, or what's a topic I haven't talked about in a while. That's kind of just how I do it, and try to learn like as I go and get better.
Yeah, I feel like clickbait is part of the game, right?
100%. Yep.
There's this sweet impressions click-through rate, which we all watch like hawks.
Yep.
That's awesome. So I see you have some other games on here, right? You've got Tower Fantasy, you've got there's some new one, Time Raiders. Are you planning on making more content for these games? Are they sponsorship deals? Do you plan to branch out further from Rise of Kingdoms content?
Well, the games that are sponsors, I'm pretty sure I make it pretty clear if it's sponsored at the beginning. Like Tower Fantasy was not sponsored. That was a game that I just really enjoyed. The Time Raiders is something that is sponsored right now. They have actually it's an MMO, but they're doing like a KVK thing, and they invited me to make a clan, so that's sponsored. I'll be doing more videos for that. But I do want to branch away from Rise of Kingdoms, just as a long-term strategy. I think, you know, the game isn't going to last forever as much as I hope it does, right? I hope 5-10 years from now we're still playing ROK in some new advanced form. Maybe it's you know, on Steam or something like that. I don't know. But it's hard as a YouTuber to branch out 100%, and that's one of the hard lessons you learn very early on when you first try to step out of your comfort zone and no one clicks on it, and you're like, man, that does not feel good.
Yeah, I had that. I did a poll recently where because I made Call of Duty content, and I'd like to go back to it because, you know, Modern Warfare 2 is coming out, and I made 3 options: yay, meh, or I will unsub. And I will unsub got more votes than I was hoping for.
Of course, that's how it is. Yep.
Yeah, it's a shame because I feel like YouTube definitely does push people into specializing in one form of content, and if you try to go outside of it, you're not rewarded.
Yeah, the algorithm is tough, right? Because you have this core group of people that follows you strictly for Rise of Kingdoms, and then it's like, hey, Omniarch posted a Tower Fantasy video, and everyone's like, I don't care, I don't even know what that is. So like, not that they don't like my videos, but they don't play that game, so why would they click on it? You have to learn to not take that personally. It's just they don't care about the game, so whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then the algorithm's like, well, his most dedicated viewers aren't clicking on his video, so it must be a horrible video. Why would we show it to anybody else? And then it just, crashes and burns right there.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I hope when I do make a Call of Duty video that it does okay, but fingers crossed.
Good luck.
Thank you. So we've gotten to learn a little bit about you. We've chatted. Let's talk about Rise of Kingdoms itself, right? What do you consider yourself to be in game? Are you a rally lead? Are you a field player? I've got your commander images up here. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit how you play.
I am a open field fighter. I am a flag stuffer, but I'm not a rally lead. I'm sort of like a backup garrison. I have Zenobia YSS expertise. I have really great gear for Zenobia. But with the Crystal Tech system, I'm not going to spend to max it. So right out of the gate there, even though I'm VIP 17, I feel like there's, in my alliance or in my kingdom, there's so many other players that are more qualified, even though I have good gear and expertise commanders, that I just don't even, unless it's like an emergency and one of our allies in the coalition needs like a backup garrison, I mainly just field fight and stuff flags.
Yeah, that I used to play Rally and Garrison, and then I saw this new Crystal Tech update come out where they made the tech that was just perfect for Rally and Garrison, but if you're not maxing tech, you're totally screwed. And I was like, okay, my days are done.
Yep. That's the system.
Yeah. So are you a whale, or would you say you're a low spender or free to play or somewhere in between?
I would say somewhere in between. I think the whale. I mean, I don't max Crystal Tech. I've never maxed it. So just like right off the bat, I think that's one of the prerequisites of being a whale. But it depends on who you ask, right? So I don't know. I think I've spent somewhere around like 10K on the game in the past 4 years, which sounds horrible when you say it out loud, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I would be like a medium spender. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'd say that's medium spender, and I also have spent a disgusting amount when you add it up, because it's like $60 a month at least, and then over that many years, it's just absolutely disgusting.
Doesn't feel good when you look back, but it's 20. The way I look at it is like $2,500 a year. So like, what's that per month, and is entertainment value worth it? I don't really do, I don't do like crazy other things as far as like entertainment costs. So that's kind of how I look at it. But yeah, it's too much still.
It's always too much.
Yep. Copium.
So, what kingdoms have you been in? I see you're in 1568 right now, right? You mentioned you started in a different kingdom. What's been your path to getting to where you are today?
Yeah, it's funny because it's been so many years. I literally forgot. I think I've only been in like 3 or 4 or 5 kingdoms. I started in 1062, which was it was not a new kingdom when I started. Like, I don't know why the coworkers I worked with just picked that kingdom because the name of the kingdom, I think, how they have like different names.
Yeah.
So they scrolled all the way back and picked like an old kingdom, and we didn't know, obviously. So I started in a really old kingdom for no reason. Well, I mean, it was only a month old, but regardless, that's where I started. Eventually there was a little bit of a civil war, and I migrated away with some of the people because at that point, a lot of my coworkers stopped playing. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to stay in a dead kingdom after a civil war. So I migrated to, I think from there, we went to 1568. And then, the leadership there was rough. And then there was a bunch of migrations coming in and out. And so I sort of followed my friends to another kingdom. And I literally don't remember that kingdom's name because I wasn't there for very long. It was like 16 something, I think, or 18 something. I don't know. And then after a few months, I actually migrated back to 1568, and I've just been there since because I like the leadership. People are funny. That's really what matters most.
So, you and I messaged about this, but everyone else doesn't know it. A lot of the leadership in your alliance was in my original kingdom. I started in Kingdom 1304, and Miss Mayhem, Mons, Bougie, all of them were in Kingdom 1304 with me.
Yeah, they're awesome. I like them.
So it's a small world for sure.
Yeah. When you get to the the hardcore players in ROK, you start to realize that it's people move around and everyone sort of knows someone that knows someone.
Oh yeah. So I just made a video about yesterday or a couple days ago for whoever's watching this video of like the 15 biggest things not to do in Rise of Kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
What was your biggest rookie mistake when you first started out?
So I also made a video like that. It's been a while at this point. I think it was like 6 or 7 biggest mistakes on my account. So if you want to know all the mistakes, you can watch that video. But I think the one that was the biggest mistake, and this was one that I did really early on when I was still free to play. My first like year in the game, I was free to play pretty much, or until I hit like T5, I was free to play. But I put hundreds of universal commander sculptures into Cao Cao, and that doesn't feel great because he is used exclusively for killing barbarian forts at this point, and I have hundreds of his sculptures sitting there rotting away.
No.
I'm like, I probably put like 400 universals into him. Like it was bad. But my thought process at the time was like, oh well, I'm free to play. I'm never gonna max my DS Governor commander. I'm never gonna get enough spins of the wheel without gems. So I'm just gonna max out a commander I can max out. And yeah, that wasn't a great play.
Oh man, but you did end up maxing Mina, so you can run Mina Cao Cao.
I can do that. Yeah. I mean, I just don't like it too in Season of Conquest. I don't know. Doesn't feel like it holds up to me, but
no. Well, if and when you get your 7 marches, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Right. Yeah, that might maybe be in there.
So, what is your favorite troop type? I clicked through the images here. You've got people across the board.
Mm-hmm. I focus mainly on infantry. I quickly realized after I've had 2 good marches, 3, decent marches, that there's so many other good commanders in the game that I'm really missing out on. So I started to branch out. So now I have a solid cavalry march, I have a solid archer march, and then I have like 2 or 3 good infantry marches, and I do prefer infantry.
There you go. And what is your favorite civ? We can do cosmetics and practicality.
Practically, my favorite is France. I think that the health is great, especially when I'm running multiple marches with different troop types. You get 3% health for everybody. I love the reduction in healing speed, so I save a little bit of resources there during fights. From a looks perspective, I think the buildings look the best in Egypt, and the troops look the best in Japan.
Maybe like it.
But yeah.
I started as Japan, I think. Either Japan
a
or
lot of
Britain. Early on.
Yeah.
Picked a random civ. Didn't matter.
Mm-hmm. So,
you like infantry. You're running France, which, for those of you that watch my videos, you know France is awesome for infantry and otherwise. What is your favorite march? And what is your current 5-march setup?
Favorite march is Guan Scipio, for sure, 100%. I don't really run 5 marches right now. I run 4, which is, I mean, I really only like to use the most optimized things that I can. Yeah. I absolutely could run 5 if I really wanted to, but I use Guan Scipio, Herald with Martel, Herald primary. I use Boudica with Nebu for PvP, but in Canyon it's Boudica YSG. Probably should do Nebu YSG, but whatever. I use Nevsky with William, and that's 4. And then if I have to do 5 for whatever reason, I usually like to keep the 5th one open for like grabbing a rune or for stuffing a flag or whatever. But if I do 5, I'll do Guan Alex, and then I'll do Scipio primary with Mehmed.
Interesting. I run Guan Scipio occasionally, and I also have Flavius Max, so everyone's like, you should split them up. And I'm like, yeah, but Guan Scipio's the best.
It's just, I feel so bad whenever I move Scipio away from that, because I know that I'm operating with 2 marches that are slightly at a disadvantage, because I would have 1 perfect march and I would just rather do that.
Yeah, it's a struggle. Mm-hmm. So similar to the Civ question, right? What is your favorite commander? And we can do cosmetics and in-game, and why?
Practically it's Scipio Prime.
Okay.
I just the AoE is so satisfying. It's so, like I feel like you're hitting like a truck. Uh, it feels great, really great debuff, and you also get some troop health there, which is really important. I feel like he's just a perfect synergy with Guan, and Guan was already incredible. So, but I think Scipio is a little bit better than Guan. So that's my favorite from a aesthetic perspective. There's a little bit of a meme from my channel. If you've been into a live stream, you might know that Artemisia is my favorite aesthetically. Something about those emo goth girls. It looks great. Just
Oh,
great,
there you go.
great
Yeah, I
commander.
thought she was a little interesting looking when she first came out.
Yeah, yep. I think she looks great. That's a great commander design. I hope we see more of that.
I love it. What cracks me up is her tiny arms and the massive bow that she's holding.
Yeah, yeah. The proportions are just absurd for the game. So I can't wait to see what's next.
So it's always a good time.
Mhm.
Um, so what is your favorite KVK format? You mentioned when you first started playing, it was you were free to play, and I think there was only probably one KVK format when you first started, and now we've had KVK 2, Light versus Dark, Season of Conquest. I think you
Mhm.
guys even did the weird desert KVK, didn't you?
We didn't. We did March of the Ages. We didn't do the
Okay.
Death. Yeah, when I started, there was not a KVK. That was not a thing. Ark of Osiris was not. I remember that. I remember Ark coming out as
Oh
a
my
game mode.
god.
And fun story. I know this isn't the question you asked, but all of my coworkers after work, we actually met at a bar across the street for our first Ark match, and we had this big long table of all of us playing Ark at the same time, and it was one of the best experiences in the game. Like those are the experiences that got me hooked because it actually was like a cool cooperative thing. So that's a side note. But my favorite KVK game mode, I want to say KVK 2. It's been a long time since I played it. It's, and even KVK 3, I think KVK 3 gets a really bad rap, and I see why. It's very slow. I don't like fighting with one march, but any KVK without Crystal Tech is better than a KVK with Crystal Tech. If you force me to pick a Crystal Tech one, I would say Heroic Anthem. I like the idea of Bastion skills. I like that I can work towards it and not only like get the crystals and the Bastion favor, but actually have a skill that I can get at level 6 or whatever, and like add that little bit of extra like tweak to my march to really make it powerful. I think they maybe missed the mark with power up. I'm not a huge fan of that. And if they just remove the fog, just remove just that's the worst part about that is the fog. Like, just take away the fog, take away Crystal Tech, and just don't touch the system. That's my 2 cents.
Well, that's the irony of Strife of 8. If they just got rid of fog
Mhm.
and they got rid of Crystal Tech, like that'd be perfect. I don't think
Yeah,
it'd be too hard.
yeah, yeah. Strife is fine. I think Strife is cool. I think having more kingdoms, sometimes it gets a little bit chaotic, but yeah, I think Strife is fine as well. But just again, the Crystal Tech is just to me, it's just a parasite on the game mode that we don't need it. Like nobody needs that.
Except for Lilith. They need it.
Right. Yeah, that keeps the lights on, I guess. But realistically, there's 40 other systems we can spend money on. So
That's right.
whatever.
There's never enough bundles to buy. And no one spends on recharge rewards.
Oh, of course, yes.
So the last question I have for you is kind of a twofold one. Um, what do you hope to see coming to Rise of Kingdoms?
I want to see. I want to see more game modes like Champions of Olympia that are actually fun. So I think Champions of Olympia, they had the right idea in that they're making a game mode that you can fight freely without there being really any consequences. You can queue up for it multiple times. I think that's good. I don't know what it is about that game mode that really just misses the mark for me. I find it very boring. Tempest Clash was even worse somehow. I don't know how they pulled that off, but Yeah, more game modes like that where like people can participate in it and it's a team-based thing and you don't have to spend money to enjoy it. I think that's good. Obviously, better commanders is better. And I also want to see, with the formation system, they kind of talked about strategic depth. That's something that they mentioned multiple times in the patch notes. And then now, as we're learning more about the system, it really is just like another equipment system, it seems like, with
Yep.
more randomization. And that's
More
kind of a
money.
so I want to see an actual new strategy component that's not behind a RNG. Make tanks good. Like, why can't we use Richard Martel? Why is there no way to actually tank in the game, right? If you see a Pakal Herald, you just don't hit it. Like, people just know to not hit it. That kind of takes the strategy away from there even being a tanky march. Like, why even use a tanky march?
Right.
You're just going to get swarmed down. You're going to get bad trades. So adding more strategy in that way and making it so that way massive AoE isn't the only way to play open fields, I think would be interesting for sure. And less RNG in the game. There's just too many loot boxes. It's exhausting.
It'd be cool if they added like the taunt functionality that you have in like Champions of Olympia in the real game.
Right.
That'd be neat.
Yeah, just make it a very small circular AoE. It only affects 3 targets and it forces them to attack you and if they're not paying attention, great news, you get a great trade. If they are paying attention, they run away. I don't know why they don't do that. But I'm not a game dev, so whatever.
So, is there anything you'd like them to fix in the game today? I know we all complain, we all have our things. What's yours?
I mean, I can't emphasize enough how bad I think Crystal Tech is. I've made multiple videos about it. It's I think it's even worse than the formation system. It's so unnecessary to a game mode that's generally fun. I mean, KVK is the reason a lot of people play the game. And even if, right, because they've tweaked the system a lot of times, which in itself implies that the system is flawed. The more you have to tweak it, the more you're admitting that it's not great. Right? Like that's just it is how it is. But even if you only get a minor buff from KVK Tech, for example, if it's not something you can complete free to play, it's going to be a scapegoat for everything else, right? Everyone
Right.
knows, and you're a Call of Duty player, so you know this. You're playing, you miss your shots, and you blame it on lag. Was it lag? I don't know. Was it skill-based matchmaking? Maybe, but people use those as a scapegoat, like, oh, it wasn't actually fair, right? And so it's the same thing with Crystal Tech. Even if they nerf it all the way down to where you're only getting 5% attack and all damage, people are still going to use it as a scapegoat because they feel like it's not fair, and that's really what matters. Does it feel good? If it
Right.
doesn't feel good, then it's just not good for the game in general. So that's the biggest thing. And again, I'm not delusional. I know why it's in the game. It pays the bills, but that's got to be changed. And the other thing is there's still a bit of lag for the big open field fights. I know as someone who's played this game for so many years, I have 1,450 consecutive login days because I'm insane. But KVK lag used to be unplayable. Pass would open and you just couldn't log in. Like it
Yeah.
literally was unplayable. It's at a point now where it's significantly better than it was. But even a few days ago, I was fighting in KVK and I'm on the PC version and I'm like trying to get commanders to go places and I'm attacking a ghost march that's, the game thinks it's there, but really they're all the way over here and then it lags out and now I'm deep in the murder ball. So there's still lag issues that they have to work on. And I guess one last thing would be I think they got to start merging servers. There's so many dead old
Yeah.
servers that it's just why just invest in that server infrastructure, merge them together, make them a little bit better, and maybe that'll improve the experience for everyone.
I think you're right. Well, we've been going for a little while now. Allow me to thank you again, Omniarch. This has been absolutely awesome. I think everyone has gotten to know you a little bit better. They've gotten to learn about how you play Rise of Kingdoms. They've gotten to learn about your channel. I just want to thank you so much for coming and letting me interview you.
Of course. It's my pleasure. I know we've had a little bit of back and forth. My schedule's been horrible the last month, so it's like literally the worst timing. I'm glad we got to finally do this.
Me too. Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed. If you haven't already, do be sure to hit that subscribe button for myself and for Omniarch, and hit the bell so you get notified when both of our new episodes come out. Thank you. Shappy out.